What's up, Internet? You're watching Top Zone. If there's one thing cinema knows how to do, it's create stories so grand they can't fit into just one movie. That's when trilogies are born. Three chapters of the same journey, capable of moving us, revolutionizing film, and leaving a mark on entire generations. Today, we're revisiting the 10 most epic trilogies of all time, remembering each movie and the fascinating details that make these sagas unforgettable. Trilogies achieve what very few standalone films can. They build complex universes, deep narratives, and endings that stay engraved in fans' memories forever. From lighthearted humor to dark fantasy, from raw realism to colossal battle epics, every trilogy on this list has earned its place in cinema history. And to make it even better, along with a summary of each film, you'll also discover a remarkable behind-the-scenes fact about each saga. Before we dive into this cinematic journey, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and drop a like, because that really helps us bring you more lists and fun facts about movies, TV shows, and pop culture. And just before we start the countdown, to avoid any confusion, we'll be focusing only on trilogies with three films that form the main narrative. Some franchises have more than three movies, but here we're sticking to the core storyline of each saga. Let's go. 10. Back to the Future Trilogy. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, this trilogy left a mark on generations with the adventures of Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox, and eccentric scientist Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd, traveling through time in the iconic DeLorean-turned-time machine. The first film, released in 1985, shows Marty accidentally traveling back to 1955, where his own mother falls in love with him, a twist that threatens to erase his existence. The film was a smash hit, grossing over $381 million on a $19 million budget, and it scored 4 Oscar nominations, winning for Best Visual Effects. The sequel, released in 1989, takes the characters to a dystopian 2015 and into an alternate timeline, exploring the ripple effects of time travel. The third film, in 1990, takes place in the Old West, where Doc finds love and faces the choice between staying in the past or returning to the present. Altogether, the trilogy grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide. Fun facts: Eric Stoltz actually shot part of the first movie as Marty before being replaced by Fox after 5 weeks. The time machine was almost a refrigerator, and the DeLorean was chosen for its futuristic look. The script was rejected 44 times before being approved, and the courthouse clock became an eternal symbol of the franchise. 9. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man Trilogy. Directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire, the trilogy began in 2002 and follows Peter Parker as he faces iconic villains like the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Sandman. Mixing action, drama, and humor, the films show Peter's journey of discovering his powers, dealing with responsibility, and protecting New York. With a combined budget of around $600 million, the trilogy grossed approximately $2.5 billion and was loved by fans and critics alike. Fun facts: Tobey Maguire almost didn't land the role, undergoing 5 months of martial arts training. A scene with the World Trade Center was cut due to September 11th. Spider-Man's suit required both digital and physical adjustments for action scenes, and the Green Goblin's costume had over 500 parts, taking half an hour to put on. This trilogy cemented Spider-Man as one of the greatest superhero icons in cinema. 8. Toy Story Trilogy. Directed by John Lasseter and released between 1995 and 2010, the Toy Story trilogy revolutionized animation as the first fully CGI feature film. The saga follows Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and their toy friends and adventures, exploring friendship, growing up, and nostalgia. Woody, Andy's favorite cowboy toy, feels threatened when Buzz Lightyear arrives. Their rivalry leads them to face Sid, the destructive neighbor kid, forcing Woody and Buzz to team up and eventually recognize their true friendship. The 3 films grossed nearly $2 billion and earned 9 Oscar nominations, winning 2. Toy Story 3 was the first animated film to pass $1 billion at the global box office. Fun facts: Tom Hanks and Tim Allen recorded their lines together to preserve the chemistry between Woody and Buzz. The Sunnyside Daycare in Toy Story 3 was inspired by prisons, and Lotso, the villain, was originally meant for the first movie. The trilogy also broke gender stereotypes, giving strong leadership roles to Jesse and Barbie. 7. Original Mad Max Trilogy. Not often do critics and audiences fully agree, but George Miller's Mad Max saga was an exception. The 1979 original made over 13 times its budget, while the sequels also performed strongly. Critically, the second and third films received near-universal acclaim, and the third featured Tina Turner, who earned a Golden Globe nomination for her song, "We Don't Need Another Hero." Fun facts. Set in a post-oil crisis Australia, the films used guerrilla filmmaking, modified cars, and improvised sets. Mel Gibson was relatively unknown when cast, and Max's Interceptor was adapted from a Ford Falcon. Mad Max 2 featured unusual animals on set, and the third film leaned into adventure, with Tina Turner not only singing but also acting. 6. Captain America Trilogy. Created in 1940 by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, Captain America began as a waikiki patriotic hero. In the films, Chris Evans brought Steve Rogers to life, from The First Avenger, 2011, to The Winter Soldier, 2014, and Civil War, 2016, which pitted Cap against Iron Man in a clash of ideologies. Fun facts. Chris Evans turned down the role 3 times before accepting. Hugo Weaving based Red Skull's accent on Werner Herzog. Sebastian Stan trained heavily for his Winter Soldier combat style. And the first film almost included cameos by Wolverine and Magneto. Civil War became famous for its spectacular fight sequences, including Black Panther and Spider-Man's standout moves. 5. Christopher Nolan's Batman Trilogy. Considered one of the greatest superhero adaptations ever, Nolan's trilogy tells Bruce Wayne's journey to make Batman a symbol of hope for Gotham. Batman Begins, 2005. Bruce's origin and fight against Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow. The Dark Knight, 2008. The pinnacle of the trilogy with Heath Ledger's legendary Joker. The Dark Knight Rises, 2012. Batman's return against Bane, closing his arc. Together, the films grossed over $2.4 billion worldwide, earned 9 Oscar nominations, and won 2 for The Dark Knight. Fun facts. Heath Ledger isolated himself in a hotel room to develop Joker's mannerisms. Nolan prioritized practical effects over CGI. Christian Bale underwent extreme body changes for the role, and during filming, a drunk driver crashed into the Batmobile, thinking it was an alien ship. 4th, Matrix Trilogy. In 1999, Lana and Lily Wachowski revolutionized cinema with The Matrix, blending philosophy, martial arts, and sci-fi. Neo, Keanu Reeves, a hacker, learns the truth about the simulated world created by machines. In 2003, Reloaded and Revolutions followed, wrapping up the trilogy. The films grossed over $1.6 billion combined, with the first introducing bullet time, a visual effect that changed Hollywood forever. Fun facts. The Matrix was the first film to sell 1 million DVDs. The green code is actually a sushi recipe in Japanese. The iconic lobby shootout took 10 days to film, and stars like Sandra Bullock and Leonardo DiCaprio turned down Neo before it went to Reeves, who even gave part of his salary to the crew. 3. The Hobbit Trilogy, based on J.R.R. Tolkien's book, Peter Jackson's trilogy, 2012 to 2014, tells the story of Bilbo Baggins joining a group of dwarves to reclaim their mountain from Smaug the dragon, discovering a very familiar magical ring along the way. The films grossed nearly $3 billion worldwide, with 7 Oscar nominations. Fun facts. Guillermo del Toro was almost the director. Tolkien banned Disney involvement. The dwarves' wigs were made of real yak hair. Jackson added female characters since none existed in the book. And the first 2 Hobbit films cost nearly double the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. 2. Original Star Wars Trilogy. Few trilogies reshaped cinema like George Lucas's original Star Wars, 1977 to 1983. Following Luke Skywalker's battle against the Galactic Empire and Darth Vader, it revolutionized special effects, boosted sci-fi's popularity, and became a global cultural phenomenon. The trilogy grossed $1.7 billion and won 10 Oscars. The Empire Strikes Back remains a fan and critic favorite. Fun facts: R2-D2's name came from Real 2, Dialogue 2. Chewbacca was inspired by Lucas's dog. Vader's design mixed samurai armor with WWI helmets. Yoda's face combined Albert Einstein with the makeup artist who sculpted him. And Lucas once considered a darker ending where Luke turned to the dark side. 1. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Based on J.R.R. Tolkien's masterpiece and directed by Peter Jackson, this trilogy, 2001 to 2003, follows Frodo's journey to destroy the One Ring and defeat Sauron. Filmed back-to-back in New Zealand, the films grossed $2.9 billion and won 17 Oscars, including 11 for The Return of the King. Fun facts: 10,000 arrows, 2,000 weapons, 1,200 suits of armor, and 1,600 prosthetic hobbit feet were made. The cast of the Fellowship tattooed the number 9 in Elvish. Orlando Bloom broke ribs, Viggo Mortensen broke teeth and toes, and Sean Astin needed 20 stitches in his foot. Andy Serkis revolutionized motion capture as Gollum. Sean Connery turned down Gandalf, and Nicolas Cage almost played Aragorn. Ironically, John Rhys-Davies, who played Gimli the Dwarf, was the tallest actor in the Fellowship. So, do you agree with this list, or do you think another trilogy deserves a spot among the most epic of all time? Drop your personal top 10 in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and check out the other videos on the channel. And of course, leave suggestions for future topics. I'd love to make them happen. Stay well, and see you in the next video.